everyone, Heather Earls here. Thanks for coming on today's episode. This week, like every week, I'll be talking about natural living and healthy tips that will get you to rethink how you live and what products or habits you can easily change to better your life. So let's get started. Hey Urban Wisdom fans, and welcome to another week. Well, our topic is preparing your book files / manuscript, part 1. So this is for you book lovers, authors, dreamers, and those of you interested in taking the next step to learn about getting a book published. I live on a sustainable farm with my husband and 4 children, for those of you who don't know me. I'm an established author of inspiration, fiction, children's book, a journalist, a stay-at-home mother, and an advocate for healthy living. I publish a weekly blog, which is heatherearls.com, and podcast, which is Urban Wisdom, and I am a print specialist for Puffer Print. If you are like me and want to know everything I can about someone and their upcoming projects, you can visit Veteran Crowd Spotlight, where I did an interview with them. Just go to their website, search Heather Earls, and there you have it. So, since you now know who I am, we can dive right into our topic, which is Heather's book writing tips and how you can use these tips to make your dreams and book writing goals come to life. In short, preparing your book, files, or manuscript, part 1. Now, it doesn't matter if we're talking about a children's book, the book printing process to include how to print your own book, or novel writing, or simple things like what information you need before heading to a publisher to include ISBNs and author bios. We are going to cover it all, and in the end, ease your mind and frustration so you can take that next step or create a more fluid process of getting your book published the next time around. Ready to start? Let's do it. So to begin, I want to clarify a few things. I will be talking about different types of publishing. For instance, there's traditional publishing, which is where the author turns in their work to a literary agent who finds them a traditional publisher. That publisher then uses their resources to edit, advertise, etc. Then there's self-publishing, is another platform where you go through a company such as Westbow Press, you turn in your manuscript or files, and then they charge you a certain amount to edit, create the cover, advertise, and take you from the beginning of the process to the printing of your book. Now there's indie publishing, where you do all of the work, cover, layout, your bio, acquire your own ISBN, and then take it to a printing company to have it printed, or use an online platform like Smashwords, Amazon, or Barnes & Noble. And lastly, we have a mixture where you are like an indie publisher, but companies like Puffer Print offer ISBNs, barcodes, and formatting help. These have an additional cost but are calculated for each project, so you are aware upfront of what those will be before you begin. So to recap, we will discuss traditional publishing, self-publishing, indie publishing, and a mixture of indie and self-publishing. With those in mind, let's start the preparing of your files. Preparing your book, files, or manuscript. Since we are talking about different books like children's books versus fiction or biographies, there is a different process, not only in what you need to complete before submitting your work, but because some of you are going straight to a literary agent and some of you are going through a print company like Puffer Print or the self-publishing route. For traditional publishing, where you're trying to catch the eye of a literary agent, it is best and most of the time required to have your manuscript finished, which means fully completed. In cases where you already have a literary agent, you may have a partial idea or manuscript for your next book since you have an established relationship. Now, if you have multiple books, say a series, it's wise to have your first book completed and then a snippet or 1-page synopsis of each additional book in the series. This way, a literary agent / publisher is not only aware that your book is a series, but that you as the author know the storyline and direction of your project. For self-publishing, you can sign on with a company before completing your manuscript, but nothing happens until you turn in your finished project. So I would recommend, no matter what, complete your manuscript. Okay, so your manuscript is finished. Now what? The next step is choosing how you want to publish. Give the list talked about earlier. You need to choose. Once you have that question answered, you are ready to move on to the next step. The next step being making a checklist. Now, for traditional self-publishing, indie, or any other kind, there are a few things that you will have to do yourself. For instance, an author page. You are responsible for writing your author bio and providing a picture for your author page. For traditional publishing, they will provide an ISBN. Okay, so that was number 1. Sorry, you guys, I'm moving too fast. Number 2, traditional publishing, they will provide an ISBN, but for any other kind, you either need to acquire one or ask the self-publishing company or another company like Puffer Print if they provide them. They almost always do, but you will pay a little higher price than if you purchase one yourself. For instance, Puffer Print provides them and places them anywhere on your book you wish for $49.99. Number 3, you need to write your teaser, the back cover, or the inside of your jacket. Since no one knows your book better than you, be prepared and have ready the teaser, as I call it. For a children's book, I would also recommend one. Even if it's short, it is always better to be prepared. Number 4, your dedication page and thank you/credit page. You know who you want the book to be dedicated to, the list of people who have helped that you would like to mention. You will not usually see a thank you page for children's books, but it does happen, so just have those. And number 5, a reference page. When writing a biography, business, or quoting someone in your book, keep a record of where you obtained your information. This way, you can include that list at the end. So there's your list. I know you want to get to the part where you send in your manuscript. We all do. However, I promise if you have your manuscript completed and these steps finished, it will save you time and show you are a professional and serious about your project. Now, there is writing a query letter. Okay, so writing a query letter is only necessary if you are seeking a traditional publisher. That being said, it is probably the most important letter you will ever write. When you send your project to a literary agent, they will look at the query letter and the first, maybe second paragraph. Sometimes it's only the first or second sentence. They will not read any further or open your manuscript if you don't catch their attention in 3 to 10 seconds. Trust me on this. If you are to spend a lot of time perfecting something, I would perfect your query letter. Note, different agencies will tell you how they like a query letter written and even offer a step-by-step. I would use one of these templates as your base and then adjust it from there. If another agency requires you to write it in a different way, like I said, you can adjust it off of your template. So here's just kind of an idea. Most agencies like 4 to 5 paragraphs explain, paragraph 1, why you chose them. Paragraph 2, what your story is about. 3, a short bio of you. 4, what genre or audience you are writing for. And number 5, they also like to include other books in your chosen genre similar to your project, then explain why they are similar. They want to know how well you know your book. They want to know what other, genres or books that are related to yours and why they are similar, so that they know you're paying attention to what's out there, what's popular, what's being sold. Now, we're going to get into a little more depth of our checklist, like writing an author page. Many writers who have a close friend write the author page for them, as it can be hard to talk about yourself or give a proper description. However, it would help if you had one ready along with a professional or clean picture. Note, anytime you turn in a picture, you need to have a consent form or release form from the photographer. Do not forget this part, as publishers and self-publishing companies will ask for one, and you do not want to backtrack or lose time. I don't care if it's your husband taking the picture, your wife taking the picture, a friend, you need to have them sign off on it. Okay, now acquiring an ISBN and barcode. As stated, there are companies like Puffer Print, if you decide to publish with them, who will provide an ISBN and barcode for you. But if you wish to purchase one yourself, then I would go to Bowker, which is BOWKER That's where I get mine. You can buy one ISBN, you can buy 10 at a time. The prices are all listed there. And then you register them as you use the ISBN numbers. Okay, now let's go into the writing your teaser for the back. Here is where your writing can really shine. You want to create a teaser for the back or inside dust jacket. Your reader learns what your book is about, but only a taste. Make it so they can't resist your book. You want them to throw it in their cart, whether they're online or in the store. This teaser should be short, sweet, and irresistible, kind of like a piece of chocolate or their favorite sweet. Including a dedication page. All right, including or dedicating someone in your book is an extraordinary honor, but you still should ask permission, especially if this will be a higher profile book. Not everyone likes to be the center of attention or have their name out in the open for any reader to see. I always ask permission to include a person and ask how they would like their name to appear. So for instance, if you include a military officer, he may want his rank written out. Or say it's a private contractor who only wants his first name. No matter who it is, be considerate and ask. All right, keeping track of who you are referencing. All right, before you start your project, be sure to write down or have a spreadsheet where you can keep track of who or what you are referencing. Bible verses and their versions, someone's quote, the name of a book to which you remark. All of these types of references need to be included in the back of your book or have ready for a publisher. They will ask for a list, and not only that, but for Bible verses, they will want to know how many times. I would keep page number, where that is located in, etc. Now, if you don't want to go back page by page, simply be organized and start keeping track at the beginning. I realize some of you are going to be listening to this or reading this, and you're going to be in the middle of your project. Just take a day or two, stop what you're doing, go back and take time to write out those references. So when they ask, you're ready. All right, picking out your literary agent or publishing company. Now, please pay attention because this next part is very important. Now that you know how you want to publish your book and have the basic files or information ready, you need to spend time picking out the right literary agent if you choose the traditional route, or company if you are going with any other option. For traditional, every literary agent accepts different types of books. For instance, you may have Donna, a literary agent who only accepts children's books, or John, who is looking for biographies. For each agency, their literary agents, through their bios, list what they are looking for and in what way they want you to submit your manuscript, query letter, etc. Please don't ignore what they are asking and looking for in an author. You will only waste your time and effort. Focus on literary agents who align with you and your project. And trust me, some literary agents will bypass your project completely. If you can't spend enough time paying attention to what they're asking for, they're going to disregard you as a serious author. So that is very important. Now, as far as publishing, any other way than traditional, you simply need to choose a company, do your research, ask for quotes, and make the best decision based on your budget and time. Now, turning in your project. Once you have researched your literary agents or companies, start turning in or submitting your project. I would highly recommend using an Excel spreadsheet or some other form to track who you sent your project out to and when. I guess the organization helps reduce stress, it did for me, and questions about whether or not you sent your project to a certain agent. I know this may seem like a lot of information, you guys, but if you are serious about being a writer, take a deep breath, start at the beginning, and visualize your project in completion. And I guess that's it for preparing your book/files/manuscript part 1. We will cover what happens once you turn in your files or hear back from a literary agent in part 2. So cheers for now, and remember to stay healthy and free. Thanks for listening to today's episode of Urban Wisdom and Natural Living. Tune in next week where I'll broadcast live every Monday morning at 8 a.m. If you miss it live, hold those tears and head on over to my blog, which is heatherearles.com. That's Heather, EARLES.com. There you can have 24/7 access or right here on iTunes. If you want to follow me on social media, you'll find me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Pinterest. Have a healthy week.